Hi everyone, welcome to Goldfries, and in this episode we'll have a look at the AMD Athlon 200GE. Yes, it is actually a Zen based processor, but it's not using the Ryzen naming convention for who knows what reason. So the Athlon 200GE is the lowest end Zen processor that you can get for just about RM239. Let's have a look at the processor right now. This is the AMD Athlon 200GE, which is a 2-core 4-threads processor, and it comes with a very small stock cooler. Notice I said processor, not APU, because it's no longer an APU. Even AMD doesn't use the word APU on their press deck. Have a look. So basically, it's a Zen-based processor with Vega 3 onboard graphics, and it's catered towards the everyday computing crowd, like web browsing, office productivity, and media playback, with some very light gaming. AMD did claim that it can work for smooth gaming experience at 720p for esports title. Yes, it does, but very limited. It baffles me why many shops are selling machines with the Athlon models as budget gaming rigs when it's actually a low-end processor that's just barely capable of running a few games, let alone give proper gaming experience. Synthetic benchmark like Unigine superposition resulted at 21 frames per second on average on 720p low settings. Very bad. With that kind of result, there is no reason to test it with AAA titles, so I went with Dota 2 and CSGO. On Dota 2, it looks impressive with 58 frames per second on average, but averages are misleading. Looking at the 1% and 0.1% lows, you see that it performs poorly, and this is at 720p with lowest settings available, which is probably why it's not part of AMD's press deck despite the popularity of the game. CSGO has the same pattern, of which the average looks very promising, but fortunately for this title, the 1% and 0.1% lows aren't all that bad. Don't bother with Apex Legends. I get sub 20 frames per second during jump and 30 frames per second average when loot hunting. I can't even engage in combat properly. The graphics performance is so low that you can even run single channel and the performance hit isn't all too bad, with lower averages but almost the same lows. Either way, it's unplayable. Here's the Cinebench and Blender test result. Not bad for a processor that runs at just 42 watts wall draw on load. This means the processor draws probably just around 35 watts as it is. The power draw is so low that this tiny cooler is able to keep the processor under 50 Celsius on rendering load without having to sound like a hairdryer. I have the Ryzen 3 2200G with me, and when compared, the 2200G gives double the graphics performance and gets work done in about 2/3 of the time, but it costs 70% more and draws 70% more power. The 2200G here is limited at running at 2666 MHz RAM speed. I have a 3200 MHz RAM module on the system, but regardless how I load the XMP, it will run at 2666. And so there we have it, the Athlon 200GE from AMD. I'm giving it a gold badge, not because it's a stunning processor, but it is a good processor at that price point, at that power draw. And given that it's targeting these very simple computer setups for office work, browsing, and whatever else that the average user does, this actually fits the bill for most things. You need not go for the Ryzen processors if you do not intend to utilize all those available processing power. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.